Greetings, cretins. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Q&A. We're going to be checking out a weird mullet prop setup on a 1.8-inch build. This is the Happy Model M80 frame. I am using this setup here to try to see if I can wake up the BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors. The standard, like, running up until this frame, the only way to run the 1.8-inch props, or 45mm props, as they're sometimes called, was the BetaFPV Meteor 75 Pro frame. That frame will only allow you to run an AIO that is undersized. The X12 AIO is slightly oversized. For like an outdoor basher, you know, big motor, big power, 75mm rig, the X12 is a great option. Undersized AIOs, in my opinion, are not very good options. Because, again, it's an outdoor basher, big motor, big power kind of setup. So this Happy Model M80 frame This is the frame that comes with the Mobula 704 that Happy Model sent me when it first came out. This frame is awesome because it allows you to run those 1.8-inch props on a frame that'll take standard flight controllers. Also, this frame is lighter. That Meteor 75 Pro frame is super heavy, super fat frame. This one's a little bit lighter. It is a Happy Model frame, so it's good. They do a really good job with their frames. My favorite thing about this frame, though, is super clever. The battery bay in this direction will take a 2S battery, and then in this direction, it'll take a 1S battery. So you can go 2S 300 or 2S 400 or 450, or 1S 450, 1S 550. Really cool. I mean, hell, you could even toilet tank the battery sideways, but don't do that. It's a bad idea. When you do that, there's no way to keep the battery centered. And so as you fly, as you crash, the battery is going to get off center, and then your CG is going to be left or right, and that is like way worse than it being front to back. So don't do that. I flew a whole bunch of batteries today, man. My first battery was with... Where the hell is it? What? Here it is. Was with the Hummingbird V4. And I put a new super low angle... Well, you know what? I'm going to take you guys through my day. I didn't... Some of the flight footage I didn't save. But I'll give you guys a little window into this Monday. You can come along for the ride with me. So I was all excited. I had a bunch of stuff that I was ready to do. I was really excited to try out this lower up-tilt camera mount. And I was like, oh, great, I'm feeling good. Didn't get a ton of sleep, but kind of got enough sleep. Nears makes no difference. Is this memory card just not gonna mount? Is that the deal? In the chat, Kelvin Knudsen, the Bruce, P Money, Josh Bergeron, Mike K, Porky Chop, Frank Nicholas. Who else is in here? Danzel, the Terrible Fizz PV, Shane and Mindy Hale. I haven't seen you guys in a while. How are you? Denzel the Terrible Fizz PV. I got most of you guys. There it is. Thanks for coming, friends. CiottiFPV.com to support me if you like these live streams and would like to see them continue. So, where's my first battery of the day? Why does HD0 randomly make TS? It just randomly only saves in TS format. That is really stupid. Oh, and of course it did that to the files that that I want to take a look at. All right, so we got to open them in a different piece of software here. All right, so here you go. Here we go. All right. So, this is the newbie drone Hummingbird V4 with Gemfan 1219S propellers, actually. This canopy was red, and I didn't have any red HQ props. And I hadn't run the Gemfan 1219S's in a while, so I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna revisit them. They're heavy. You can I noticed pretty quickly how heavy they were. They're totally fine, but they're just noticeably heavier than the HQs. They are very durable though, so if you're looking for a durable prop, it's really a no-brainer. The Gemfan 1219S it's the best of the durable props. It's the best durable prop. That's what I'm trying to say. Yikes. So this is me ripping around. As you can see, they fly okay. I can just, when I stab the throttle, I can tell that there's less motor response than when I run the HQ ultralight props. But, you know, when I smash into a bunch of stuff, the props don't just explode. And so I'm flying around, getting the feel for it. Really happy with the low up tilt mount that's on here. And so I'm like, cool, let's see what it's like upstairs. This will be great. What could possibly go wrong? I'm now sprinting up the stairs because I know exactly what just happened. There it is. It's silver. It looks like it's silver and round. What could it be? What could it possibly be? What do we know that's silver and round? Un-effing believable. So, that was the first battery that I flew. So it has been sitting on top of the fan all day. It wasn't the sink. I was sure that it was the sink at first, but it wasn't the sink. It was the dog's bowl. And so it's been sitting on a fan all day. We're gonna plug a battery into it. That was early, man. That was like 10 o'clock this morning. So yeah, it sat right side up on a fan for a few hours, and then it sat upside down on the fan for a few hours. We're gonna plug it in and see if it still works. So that was the first battery. That went well. Here comes the second battery. So this is now with this 1.8 inch 1S Tiny Whoop. This is Happy Model X12 AIO, BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors, BT 2.0, HQ 1.8 inch 1.0 pitch biblades, Runcam Nano 3, old school Mobula 6 canopy, ORT Micro V antenna. This is the best. Well, so the first crash, it seems to be always leaning to the right. I wonder what that could be.
Oh, propeller already?
So there's a first crash, broken propeller. Great. Go all the way back downstairs. Put a new propeller on. All right. It's great. So excited to fly it some more. Notice the lens is dirty. Clean the lens. All is well. Yeah, so the Meteor 75 Pro bind and fly, it's pretty good. And it uses these exact motors and it uses these exact propellers. But it's a little heavy. That Meteor 75 Pro frame is a little heavy. Immediately what I notice with this build is that it feels better. It feels like it has more power and it feels lighter because it does and it is. And the damnedest thing, it seems to be leaning to the right again.
Every time I crash it, there's a propeller? Is that the deal?
So on the first crash,
Is that what's going on here?
the right front motor number 2 propeller exploded, disappeared.
Fucking HQ ultralight?
And then this second crash, motor number 1, the right rear, explodes.
I don't like that deal.
So I got that going for me, which is not nice. And so now here we go, another fresh propeller put on there. I don't know what to call this build. It's a 1.8 inch 1S whoop. The frame is 80 millimeters motor to motor, so I guess it's just an 80 millimeter 1S tiny whoop. It flies really good. I don't think it flies as good as the 75 millimeter build on the tree toppers. I think that's still the way to go. But if you're desperate to use 1.8 inch propellers, the 45 millimeter propellers, this is about as good as it's going to get. This frame is absolutely better than the Meteor 75 Pro frame. It allows you to run a 1S battery or a 2S battery. So if you're going to do a 2S build, you can use the same frame, which is super awesome. Yeah, this thing flies really, really good. So after this battery, I saw the gap and I was like, nope, I can't let that gap go unshot. Let's get back into it. And there we go. And so, yeah, I only had this one battery charged up for this thing. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make it under this car, but what the hell. And so, yeah, this setup flies really good. Kind of an interesting build. I don't necessarily know. Look, if you have a set of BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors, I think this is the build to do with it, with those. They're too high of a kV to do a 2S build, and there's really no other... there's no 1.6-inch propeller that is good enough and is going to make enough thrust with those motors. These motors need either a 1.8-inch prop or a 2-inch prop. There are no 2-inch tiny whoop frames that are light enough, so like if you were to use this motor for a 2-inch build, it's going to be an open prop build, which there are a lot of, and it's a really popular motor for that. And I would like to do one of those builds at some point here. But yeah, as far as on a tiny whoop, this is it. This is how to do this build. You could make it a little bit lighter. You could run a lighter weight camera and canopy setup. But don't, because you're going to fly it outside and you're going to hammer the living hell out of it. And so, and it's got enough power to make up for the weight of this canopy and camera setup. So yeah, just do this. If you're desperate. Let me, is this, I wanted to take a quick look at this. So this is one of the good RunCam Nano 3s. It's not all purple on the left side. It's purple all over the place because it's analog, but it's not one of the ones. So there you go. That's that's how my day started. This will make me feel better. I'm gonna plug this. I'm gonna plug this Hummingbird in, and it's gonna work, and that'll make me feel better. Is the Hummingbird? I'll tell you what, friends. This Hummingbird V4 has been astoundingly durable. Let's see if it's also waterproof. Good sign. Good sign. LEDs are on. Only the rear LEDs, though. Maybe I have the front LEDs turned off. Oh, helps if you turn the transmitter on, I guess. Transmitter's coming up. Goggles are coming up. Ouch. Now that I'm using my right hand normally, I keep smacking my mangled pinky into things, and it hurts like absolute shitballs. Oh, we got video. Indestructible. Let's fly it. Let's celebratorily fly it. This is the new. Well, this is actually both mics. Hey, is there an echo? I keep trying to tune the delay on these microphones so that there's hopefully not an echo. It doesn't look like there's an echo from the volume meters, but. There wasn't really much wind today. We don't really get much wind here. 1S is going to get its ass kicked by the wind, though. 2S is the way to go if you want to fight against the wind. So yeah, this is a 10-degree... Oh god, this is a 10-degree Bri-Brain camera mount. These GemFan 1219s are noisy. Oh! Oh my god, what's happening? Oh my god, what's happening? I flew a whole bunch of 3-inch batteries today. Open prop 3-inch 4S. And I need to adjust a little bit. I'm used to like 30-degree up tilt at the moment. Hey. Yeah, these so these GemFan 1219s are fine. They're noisy. Oh, that was funny looking. But they're durable. Noisy but durable. That's how I describe these propellers. Oh my god, I got hung up on the top of the back of the thing. I did it again! Holy hell! Yeah, see that? These props have power. I mean, this quad has power. This has the Newbie Drone 0702 30,000s on it. And they make really, really, really good power. But these props also make good power. The HQ props are all 0.9 pitch, 1.1 pitch, 1 pitch. These are 19, 1.9 pitch. So this is a really pitchy propeller. That's also one of the reasons that it's heavy. As the pitch increases on a prop, they almost always get heavier. And this is no different. So yeah, you lose some response time, but you gain some thrust. You just got to have a motor big enough to kind of crank it. I like the HQ props better for sure. Man, with this low up tilt, it's really easy to slow down. It just kind of slows down on its own, like from what I'm used to. I do need to get acclimated to the lower up tilt, but I really like it. Even though there is a bunch of duct in view, mic delay is good, awesome, no echo, cool. Yeah, even though there is some duct in view, like there's a school of thought that I don't necessarily disagree with, that you might as well run whatever the up tilt is that has just the tiniest little bit of duct in view, because any more than that and it's just wasted, right? Like you might as well point the camera up a little bit, because you can't, the ducts are not see-through, and so it's just white or black or whatever on the bottom of the frame for no reason. So my theory sort of is that you should run up tilt so that you just get like the tiniest little sliver of duct, and then that's like the lowest up tilt you can realistically run. The flip side of that, though, is that when you have less up tilt, like we all kind of put the horizon at like a certain part of the frame. Like we all just kind of cruise at a certain speed. When you run a lower up tilt camera, you cruise slower, because your whole everything in the frame gets shifted down. And so this mount at 10 degrees does make me fly slower. It does look kind of silly to have the bright white ducts on the bottom, and I am going to try a 15 degree up tilt version of this mount to see if that gets a little bit less of the duct out, but still allows me to fly slow. But yeah, if you want to fly slowly, you're going to have a bunch of duct in view, and you're going to run like 5 or 10 degrees. But yeah, very cool mount. I really like the lower up tilt. We'll fly another battery or two later in the live stream. Yo, that's a win. Hummingbird V4, fully submerged, plugged in the dog bowl. I did not arm it this time, which is probably why it survived. Last time that happened with a BetaFPV rig, I was very stupid and tried to arm it in the dog bowl and fly it out of there, and it killed it. So I don't know if any flight controller would have survived that, to be dead honest, but you know, if it hadn't have broken from the dog bowl, it would the VTX or the receiver would have died on it, because that's been what's happening to all of the BetaFPV AIOs recently, unfortunately. I flew this guy today again, and the 04 Pro absolutely melts my brain. It is just so incredibly good. It was flying a little weird. I don't know what's I don't know if maybe there's a prop that's out of balance or there's a motor that's getting angry. But I need to give this thing a little love. This is the Avata-killer, as I've named it. I flew it hard today. And I flew it with a GNB 4S 1150, I think, battery. And even like hammering the shit out of it, it still flew for 6 minutes and 50 seconds, which is pretty damn good. It's on these Brother Hobby VY 2004 motors. In terms of flight characteristics, there's no comparison between this and the Avata. This absolutely shreds. You can do big dives. It's got big, thick ducts, so it will go really slow. It'll be really safe, you know, if you fly it around people. Very interesting build. The 04 image quality is fantastic, same as the Avata 2. But yeah, this is a really neat build. You can smack a GoPro on here. These motors, they make a lot of power. Like the power to weight ratio is really good the way that it sits like this. It hammers for a Cinewhoop. If you put a GoPro on this, it feels like every other Cinewhoop, maybe a little bit more underpowered than every other Cinewhoop. My two main Cinewhoops have 2104 motors that are higher KV than these, and they feel really, really good. So these Brother Hobby VY 2004s, these are incredibly lightweight, but they make a little bit less power. They're a little bit lower of a KV. But as this thing sits like this, the power to weight ratio is better than all of my other Cinewhoops, and it just flies insane. With a battery, this comes in under the 400 gram weight limit. Sub 250. If you put a waiver in, sub 250 becomes sub 400. So this is fully legal to fly over crowds and all that jazz, which is kind of sort of why I built it. I don't know if I'll keep this together. I am going to put a GoPro on here. I actually have to take this Hero 12 back to Best Buy and get a different one, because this continues to, I thought I had it figured out, but apparently not. This continues to just randomly stop recording, which is just not fucking good and just not okay. So yeah, I am gonna just slap this on here, and then I'll put the settings exactly the same between the Hero 12 and the 04 Pro, and then take a look. I've seen those comparisons before, and like, you can say that the GoPro has a little bit more natural colors, is what people keep saying, but that doesn't matter, because you're gonna put it into fucking Premiere or DaVinci Resolve and shift the color balance all around to make it look good anyway. So it kind of doesn't matter. But yeah, I do want to kind of double check that for myself. Like I've never personally done that. And if I'm going to start using this thing for actual paid gigs, I want to be goddamn certain that the quality coming out of this 04 system is every bit as good as the Hero 12. I have Pride coming up 2 weekends from now. I'm absolutely bringing this with me, and I will absolutely be flying this on Saturday night at the concert over the crowd. So yeah, it'll get used for sure. I don't know if it's going to be something that gets used in scenarios where I'm not flying over people. You know what I mean? Most gigs that I get, I'm not doing that. It's a closed set, or it's just a scenario where I'm not flying over human beings. And in those, you know, the Hero 12 and my other Cinesplores might be the way to go there. But there's only one way to find out. So yeah, going to be playing around with this a little bit, which is cool. I also learned something completely insane today. 04 Pro in here with a memory card in it. Right? Hold on. Let me put this back. No, I'm not going to set it up like that. I'm going to put it here. It's got that crazy Gemini dual antenna madness setup going on. I don't want to bend those antennas. So, memory card in the 04 air unit. Goggles 3. No memory card in the Goggles 3. It was I moved the memory card from the Goggles 3 over to the not the Goggles 2, the other ones. The Goggles Frontera. The Goggles Integra. I moved the memory card over to the Integra. I forgot to take it out of the Integras and put it back into the Goggles 3. It will not record, no matter what you do. There's a trick with, if you don't use auto recording on takeoff, there's a trick where if you want the onboard DVR to record, you have to arm the quad, and then you have to hit the record button in the goggles. Otherwise, it'll just record on the goggles. It won't record on the onboard. Apparently, though, with 04 Pro and Goggles 3, I don't know if this is also true with Goggles Integra, Goggles 2. It's definitely true with Goggles 3, though. If there's no memory card in the Goggles 3, it will not record on the onboard memory card, on the onboard DVR. Just for no reason. I confirmed that on the internet. So that's really silly. What it will do, though, you can go into the menus and tell it not to record to the memory card and to record to the 8 gigabytes or whatever the hell it is of onboard storage. So I did that, but it was really dark and the footage was worthless, so I just deleted it. But yeah, that's pretty dumb. I'm sure there's some insane reason for that with the way that their software works. But yeah, that was a maddening realization. So I got that going for me, which is nice. So with getting back to the 1.8-inch tiny 1S Tiny Whoop, I was flying around today on these biblades. It kept breaking the biblades. I have almost none of these biblades left. It's not making quite enough power, and so I said, you know what? I'm going to put the triblades onto it. I took one of the rear biblades off, and then I said, you know what? Quad 6.6 tested what I've never seen it called this before. I don't know if he made this up or if this is, or if I'm just not in the know. But he called it mullet-propping. What is it? Party in the back, business up front, party in the back. And so I was going to switch from biblades to triblades, and I said, you know what would trick people into clicking on the live stream tonight? If I only put the triblades on the rear and tested this silly mullet-propping nonsense. And all of you that are here watching live, you probably are just used to watching these live streams on Monday nights. But there's people watching this after the fact who noticed the mullet-propping and specifically clicked on this live stream, which is now no longer live for them, to see what I thought about mullet-propping. I think it's a bad idea, first and foremost, and I actually have not flown this yet with the silly mullet-propping setup. I don't think that you should do it, unless, like, you're a racer or bored. Here's a part of the theory, though. It's essentially, like, if you want a little bit more grip, but not a lot more grip, that's why you would do this. That's really the only reason to do this. And so you get the extra grip of the triblades in the rear, but no extra grip in the front with the biblades with the biblades. The philosophy to doing the triblades in the rear is that when this thing's flying through the air, the front propellers get nice clean air, right? You got a wall of air here, and so it's constantly flying through this wall of air. And so the two front motors get perfectly clean air, no obstruction whatsoever, right? And they pull some of the air down. And that's a part of the problem. The rear props come through, and they don't have access to this column of air here because it's been pulled down into the front motors. The rear motors have to pull more air down. They have to pull air down from up here. They also have to deal with whatever aerodynamic bullshit is happening from the canopy, and just the fact that the front motors are disturbing the air by moving it, right? And so biblades, which make less power in the front, triblades, which make more power in the front to try to pull down more of that air. That's the weird philosophy behind it. What potentially is actually going to happen, though... Well, no. What is actually going to happen is that the PID loop, the error correction loop, basically when you mix and match stuff, whatever the least powerful motor and propeller is, that's what the whole system becomes at full throttle. And so, like, any advantage that this might give is going to, I think, be negated. Also, now you've got different response time in the rear with heavier, more draggy propellers. And so the response time in the front is going to get slowed down to the same amount as the rear. And so you're getting, like, all of the negatives of the worst. Like, when it comes to response time, you're going to get all the negatives, right? The slowest response time is, everything is going to get whatever the slowest response time is. Because otherwise, it's going to move all around, right? If it's in propwash and the rear motors can't respond fast enough, if the front motors respond too quickly, it's going to do all kinds of weird shit, right? So the PID loop running at 4,000 or 8,000 cycles a second, it's going to slow down the lighter weight rotating assemblies. So you're going to get the same response time as the heavier rear motors. If you go like full throttle, the least powerful motors, it's going to slow everything down. It's going to cook everything down to that. Otherwise, the rear, when you went full throttle with no stick input, it would front flip because the rear motors are making more power, right? It's obviously not going to do that. And so, like, in my mind, because the PID loop keeps this thing locked in the air, you're getting the worst of all scenarios. You're getting the worst response time. You're getting the worst amount of power. Maybe that's all offset by the fact that you get a little bit more grip. You know, like when we make changes for specific reasons. And so if you've already got enough power, if you've already got enough response time, then maybe the little bit of extra grip from the rear is something that's kind of cool. That helps you out. Maybe you just think it's fun, and FPV is about fun for you. There's, do weird shit. It's okay. I don't think it's gonna fly any better. I think that it's gonna fly so similar that I can't tell the difference, though. I don't think I'll be able to tell a difference in this current setup versus what I'm doing next is putting triblades on the front as well, because I'm not getting enough power out of these BetaFPV 1102 22,000s when I had them on the biblades earlier. It's close. This is actually really good. I was really happy with the way this was flying earlier. I still like the lighter weight 1.6 inch setup on the tree toppers, in fairness, but this is really good. This was very fun to fly earlier. I think with the triblades, it's going to be too grippy, and I'm not going to like flying it outside. But it is what it is. It's something fun. FPV is supposed to be fun, so do weird shit, but don't let the placebo convince you that like all of a sudden it's better, right? Like, understand that there's a lot of placebo. Understand that it's really difficult to tell the difference between the way these things fly when you make changes, because you're not sitting inside of them and you only have your eyes to kind of judge what's going on. So yeah, there's that. I'm actually dying to know what the deal is. So let's throw a battery through it real quick. I'm not going to be able to tell. I haven't flown this thing inside the house at all. And so I'm not going to be able to tell. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll fly half this battery, and then I'll switch it over to all triblades, because that's the whole point. I wanted to have it on all triblades. And so maybe I will be able to tell. I won't, but you never know. Where are my fat sharks at? There they are. Mullet-propping is the funniest name ever for this. I absolutely love, like, if nothing else, I'm happy to do this just to spread that nomenclature around the internet. You didn't think I was going to say nomenclature tonight, did you? You filthy animals. Oh my god, that sounds dumb. Wow, that sounds awful. Oh, it feels like shit. This is brutal. Oh, okay, yeah, don't do this. Holy shit. The response time is disgustingly bad. Let's go upstairs, just for the sake of argument. Oh, it sounds so weird. Oh, shit. Oh, I hope I didn't mangle that Monstera too bad. Oh, I'm so sorry, buddy. Nope, it looks okay. I think I hit this leaf here. Oh god, I hope I didn't mangle this fucking plant. You know you're old when you're worried about plants. Fucking dark up here. What's happening? Get off of there. It feels gigantic, because it is. It doesn't feel that bad. These BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors are awesome, but 22,000 kV is just not enough. These motors in like 28,000 kV would be absolutely insane, or even higher than that. Oh god. These motors are like really lightweight. They weigh almost exactly what like a lot of the 1002s weigh. They're really efficient. They're really well balanced. They have 1.5mm motor shafts. The response time actually is not that bad on pitch, roll, and yaw. It's just on throttle. On throttle, the response time is awful. Although inside the house, I'm used to ultra lightweight, 702, 1.2 inch prop setup. So, oh my god, not super surprising. This sound, though, is so disturbing. Hey. Tough to fly inside. Oh my god, Teddy. This thing is 8 grams heavier than the 1.6 inch build on the tree toppers. Hey. Woo! What you know about that? Oh god. It's run time. Uh-oh. Yo! Yo! Man, it's heavy. Flying heavy rigs inside the house is rough. Oh, hello, little dog. I lied. I said I was going to fly half the battery, but I was intrigued. So, like, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, that's a 1S 450 mAh battery. I mean, the runtime's not like insane, but it's not bad. Wow, that sounds just utterly ridiculous. Let me. I'm gonna switch it back to the biblades to see if the on throttle response time gets noticeably better. These HQ ultralight triblades, I've tried these before, and it was the same story. They were just too heavy. The really, like, these, other than the 2-inch tiny whoops on the giant 1103 motors, all on 2S, 1S tiny whoops really like biblades, other than the little 65mm jib jabs. Although they like biblades too. It's just that the grip of the triblades is really nice for trying to not smash into the walls. But in terms of like response time, the boy, are the biblades a game changer. If you've run the HQ ultralight 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 biblades, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's just, they just spin up instantly. It's really cool. All right, so now we're biblades all around. And so we're going to have, in theory, a little bit less power, maybe. I doubt it, but we're definitely going to have better response time. And it'll definitely sound more normal. All right, I can't get this goddamn battery lead in here. There we go. Right, real quick. Wasn't planning on flying 2 in a row here, but I need to know. I need to know about the throttle response. Noise. Oh God, sorry. All right. Wow, it doesn't sound that much better. Feels worse. Oh God. It feels worse. Hold on. Oh boy. Where the fuck is it? Where the hell is it? Oh, I know where it is. I swear to God, if this mullet-propping shit, if it flies the best with that setup, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna quit. So, I think it does have less power. Oh my God. This is a big grunty motor, 1102. And so, I'm going to bring this in. And I'm going to put triblades on it, actually, all around. I kind of think that that these motors have enough grunt to handle the triblades. And then I'm gonna go fly this thing outside tomorrow, and I'm gonna hate it because it's not gonna be sliding around at all, and it's gonna be like flying a Cinewhoop outside. Maybe not though. Maybe not. If you know, it's always kind of interesting, right? Like, you go to a more pitchy or a prop with more blades on it, and you lose response time, but sometimes you'll gain enough power that, like, extra power, that you almost don't notice it. Like, it's sort of, it's the difference between, like, response time which is the instantaneous moment that you move the sticks or do anything, versus just raw thrust. And so, like, where it becomes really confusing is when you've got a setup that has great response time, but it prop washes like crazy. That's the scenario where there's you don't have enough KV. And over the years of like running and testing all these different tiny whoop motors, at this point I can tell like within seconds if a motor is going to be a good match because of that. I jam the throttle and I can tell, like, is there an instantaneous response, and then what happens after like a half a second? Like, does it speed up enough where it actually has good? It's you know, the instant that you stab the throttle, you're testing the response time, or when you just move, pitch, roll, yaw. But then after a half a second of full throttle, that's how you know how much thrust it actually has. And so, and those two things, there's an interaction between those things, right? In certain moves, you need raw thrust. In certain scenarios, you need raw thrust. In certain scenarios, you need response time. Realistically, you need them both. But it's interesting when you've got a motor prop combo that only has one or the other. Does that make sense? All right, so here we go. We're going all tri-blade. Again, this is a Happy Model X12 with a Mobula 6 canopy, Runcam Nano 3 camera, 1S 450 mAh battery, BetaFPV 1102 22,000s ORT micro V antenna, and now the HQ 45mm by 3 is what they call them. What these really are is 1.8 by... I forget what it is. What? Oh, those bastards don't tell me. Oh, there it is. No, 1.8 by 1.0 by 3. They're 1.0 pitch propellers. This battery is not fully charged. All right, all 4 tri-blades now. Oh, it's grippy. Oh, this is the move. If you're going to build one of these to fly inside, this is absolutely the move. I think it might also be the way to go for outside. Yeah, there's way more power. Yep. But, oh, thank you for making my point for me, little fucking tiny whoop. Watch this. Nope, I didn't put it properly into prop wash. There was a huge hit of prop wash a second ago that was being caused by, there it is. See that big ass wiggle? This did not prop wash on the biblades. And so here's the potential fix for that. This is when tuning becomes really important. When you've got a motor prop combo that's making the amount of thrust that you want, but the response time is not good enough. You can improve the response time with the tune. Oh yeah, baby. These tri-blades are the way to go. It feels like it has better response time on the throttle because it's making a good amount, it's making more power now. Oh. Oh, you son of a bitch, you. Yeah, this is cool now. This will be fun to compare this to the tree topper setup. I'm not going to do that comparison in the house. That would be claw! The claw has come to choose us! Oh! Yeah, these props are... You know where I can tell grip? Is when I do this. This little move through this nice big weed leave gate, this is where I can tell how much grip a propeller or a setup or whatever has. And this is grippy. That's why I can do anything with this inside the house. This thing is heavy. Oh, and see, like that moment, it just had so much momentum and so much mass that it didn't stop before it slammed into the thing. We're putting t-shirts on Teddy because his haircut just makes him look so ridiculous. Yeah, the triblades are the way to go with this setup. You know, what's really funny is, hands down, my least favorite setup on this just now was 4 biblades. Triblades in the rear, biblades on the front was better. But thank God, all triblades was the best. I guess at this point it only makes sense to try it with biblades in the back, which doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, we're here. Let's do it. It'll make that ridiculous sound again. I mean, it's not a ridiculous sound. It sounds exactly like it has 2 triblades and 2 biblades. That is literally what it sounds like. But what's interesting is like the harmonics do that thing. Have you ever like raced somebody on the highway and your exhaust and their exhaust go like wah 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 wah? That's kind of what's happening here. No, you haven't done that. That's just me. Oh, sorry, I'm a degenerate. I haven't raced anybody in fucking ages, but when I had that 96 Mustang Cobra, man, and I was a teenager. Nah, I wasn't a teenager. I was in my 20s, but you know, you can't let those Hondas off easy. You gotta show who's boss with like triple the displacement, and admittedly a much cooler exhaust note. Although nowadays, that car would get fucking mangled by most Hondas. All right, biblades on the rear, triblades on the front. This is kind of silly. This doesn't make any sense to me, but we're gonna do it anyway. For science. For science. Oh God, Teddy, I didn't expect that. Here we go. Oh, there's that sound again. Ooh, it's very floaty now. Ooh, that's weird. Yeah, no, this ain't it. It feels exactly like it did with biblades on the front, triblades in the back. Whereas, like, it's I can tell, like, it's the worst of all the scenarios. Like, it's the... Yeah. Oh, this is tough. It's the lack of power from the biblades, but then it's the lack of response time from the triblades. It's weird. It's just kind of hard to fly. Hey. Ugh, yikes. Here's the sound again. Ooh, don't get stuck in Don King, bro. No! Oh my god, it's tough to fly. Woo! Oh my god, why? Yeah, I don't like it. If you like it, that's cool, but I don't. I'm gonna put triblades on the back again just to kind of confirm that I'm not crazy. 1 second. Clone popper to the rescue. There's one. Here's two. Get off of there. And then triblade. Motor one. Oh, stop it. Come on. There we go. 1 and 2. Back again, I saw Josh Johnson the other night. I forgot to tell you guys. It's fucking hysterical. All right, there we go. We had a hell of a weekend. We saw a Michael Jackson cover band on Friday night, and then Josh Johnson on Saturday night. Yeah, this is way better. It's just, I mean, I know this seems kind of daft to say this, but it literally feels more balanced. Oh my god, it's still really heavy though. Oh no! Yeah, it's still really tough to fly. Oh boy. Fat, 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 fat quad. Good power at the bottom of that dive though. I can just stab. I can always tell if I do a full room power loop, right? And at the bottom, I can blip the throttle rather than hanging on the throttle. That's always what I'm looking for in terms of power to weight ratio. And that kind of like takes everything into consideration, right? It takes into consideration the weight of the entire quad because it's generating, it's off throttle, falling from like whatever that is, whatever those ceilings are, 16 feet-ish maybe. Hey. Moish. I feel like there's a shitload of uptilt right now. Hold on. Stop it. Did this camera go into 1,000,000 degrees of uptilt? Not really. Why is there not duct in view though? There we go. Now there's a little bit of duct in view. Let me just tighten these screws a little tiny bit. Now they're tight. Just feels very fast. It's probably because it's so heavy. One of the things that happens with heavy builds is all of that extra thrust that they need to make going downwards to keep the damn thing in the air. There's, as soon as you pitch them forward, some of that downwards thrust is going to go rearwards. So, like, they will actually go a little bit faster. This is a thing that racers got all carried away with a bunch of years ago, and they were like, yeah, heavy race quads are faster. And it was like, no, you dummies, you have to corner. Like, that's only true in a straight line. But yeah, in a straight line, heavier quad. Look at like, you know, when you put a massive battery on a rig, it ends up cruising at like a really high speed. You don't have to put the nose down as much. It's all about, I should have specified, with the same degree of pitch forward. if you take two identical builds, one of them's heavier, and you put them both at 10 degrees nose down, the heavier one will go faster. Because it has to make more downwards thrust to keep itself up in the air. And some of that, as soon as you put the nose down, some of that thrust is going to go rearwards. Does that make sense? And so, like, it's a perfect example. Like with this thing, it feels like it's even now with low up tilt. Like I've got this is like 10 degrees of up tilt. It's just charging forward. It just always feels like it's hammering forward, and I'm like just bouncing back and forth across the room. Versus something lightweight with 10 degrees up tilt. This is pretty much the same amount of up tilt. You should see a huge difference here, and I should feel a huge difference here, but I'm hoping I'll definitely feel a difference because I felt how fast this thing seemed a second ago, even with the low up tilt. Hey, no, stop it. Hey, Teddy. I'm gonna cut him off. I'm gonna cut him off at the pass. Nope. You stay in here. You stop barking. I'm the guardian. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Oh! He met his match. So yeah, look at the difference in speed. Look how much slower this thing just naturally goes. Right? It's so much lighter. It's also obviously going to slow down faster, right? Because it has a lot less weight. But it's just literally slower. Like it just goes slower. Oh, ooh, that was a hard hit. Right into the stone. This does, in fairness, feel like it's a little bit less up tilt than what I was flying a second ago. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Got it. Got a mirror flip going. That was not a good one. That was a pretty good one. Come on, let's get a really locked in one. Low up tilt mirror flip. Give it to me. Nope. Under rotated like crazy on that. Nah, that was a really shitty one. I forgot I gotta start it down low. That one was pretty good. Let's get one more. Oh shit. Oh. Oh, we got this. Oh, what was that? It was a sad crash. Come on. Come on. Get a good one. Get a good one, bro. No, that would have been a good one. I was nice and close to the mirror. I went off the top, though. Oh, that was a good one. Wow, that was confusing coming out of that. Can you see the difference in speed? It's super obvious for me flying these. The heavier rigs just feel totally out of control. Please let me go. So this thing's prop washing a little bit. It does not like these propellers. These 1219 props are, yeah, I mean they're for durability. That is what they do really well. Unfortunately, kind of like everything else, the HQ ultralights do a little bit better. All right, I've completely ignored chat. I'm very sorry. CiottiFPV.com to support me. This is totally crowdfunded. That way, when I review stuff, you don't have to think like, does he just want to make sure that BetaFPV sends him more stuff so he's not being mean about their shit? Nope. You guys pay the bills, and so I have no reason to not just hammer on stuff. Like, companies will sometimes send me stuff, that's for sure, but I don't rely on them sending me stuff because we are crowdfunded. So head on over to CiottiFPV.com, join my Patreon. That's the best thing you can possibly do. But also change all your bookmarks over to my affiliate links for those websites. Buy something from my Etsy store. I got lots more stuff coming to it. Get yourself a t-shirt. Hire me on Fiverr. One-on-one time. You can really learn a lot super fast. Lots of ways that you can support me. Cool? Next Monday is a giveaway live stream. So it is an excellent time to go from the $3 to the $5 tier. If you win any of the giveaways, they're going to be at least $40 worth of stuff. So an extra $2 for $40, $50, $60 worth of stuff. It's a pretty good deal. These are the 1.8-inch props. Yeah, so this thing is going to stay on the triblades. The 1102 motors are beefy and grunty and torquey enough to control these triblades really, really, really well. And so tomorrow, I'm going to compare the 1.6-inch 75mm motor-to-motor tree topper build, Mobula 7 V4 frame, X12, same camera and canopy, HQ ultralight biblades on this one, with 0802 33,000 kV motors. So this is a high kV biblade setup, nice and lightweight. I'm going to compare that to this guy, X12, same camera and canopy, slightly heavier antenna, but whatever. 1102 instead of 802, 22,000 kV instead of 33,000 kV, 1.8-inch triblades instead of 1.6-inch biblades. I'll spoil the surprise. The bigger setup is going to be heavier and with worse response time. It'll be more than that. It'll be more than that because like this thing is insane. Here's the weight difference. 1.6-inch rig, 23.1 grams. 1.8-inch rig, 30.3 grams. 30.3 versus 23.1. Yes, I had to do that on my hands. 7-gram difference. 7-gram difference for 0.2 extra propeller length. This setup would fly and feel better if they made these 1102s in a higher kV. This thing is handcuffed by these motors. That is very common in the tiny whoop world. All the time, there will be a setup that there's just not a great motor for. One of the main reasons that tiny whoops have been flying so much better over the last 2 years is that companies are finally making motors that are a high enough kV. Like it's been specifically kV. We've had motors in all the different motor sizes, but we haven't had motors that are a high enough kV. And needing to go, like being forced to go to a tri-blade because there aren't any motors that are a high enough kV, that sucks. It's so much better to have motors that do have enough kV for a biblade and then getting to choose if you want to run the biblade or if you want to motor limit it down and run the tri-blade. Especially for flying outside, the biblades are really the way to go. For indoors, like super tight racing, yeah, okay. The tri-blades are going to be good. But yeah, for like outdoor freestyle, high kV biblades is the way to go. When your quads get all filthy, clean them up, you lazy shit. Get a Q-tip. When you get the green all over the ducts, it's disgusting. Don't live like that. Get your fucking Q-tip. Get your isopropyl, alcohol, or just use vodka. That'll probably work too. And put some on the Q-tip. Run the Q-tip around the inside of the duct to get the alcohol on there, and then go to the next one, and then you can see where I'm going with this. You got to let the alcohol sit on there for a second. So go around all four. You'll already be picking up a bunch of green, and then go back to the first one and scrub it. And like that amount of time is perfect, and you'll get most of the shit off of there. and then your quads don't look disgusting anymore, and you'll feel better about yourself. It's one of the, this is self-care, my friends. This is true FPV self-care right here. If your shit looks good, you'll feel good, and you might even fly good. Unless you're me, then you'll always fly like a bag of smashed assholes. There it is, all clean again. Yeah, this build with these tree topper motors is incredible. This is not as good. This is fun. This is very fun. If you've got these BetaFPV 1102 22,000 kV motors, this is as good as it's going to get for a prop guarded kind of setup. But realistically, what I think these BetaFPV 1102 22s are for is open prop 2-inch biblade builds, like a 2-inch toothpick or like a Caillou Mini or something like that. That's really where these 1102 22,000s shine. So do that with it. Mike K says, do you run a motor limit indoors or in a garage? Nope. Full stankopotamus. Unless that's too much power for you, then absolutely motor limit. Just because I don't run a motor limit, don't let that affect you. Kelvin says, what's the scoop on waterproofing a drone enough to fly outside in the wet, like a 2S75 analog or something? I've talked to a bunch of people that have spent a lot of time and effort waterproofing drones, and damn near every single one of them tells me that it's 50-50. Regardless of how much time and effort they put in, it's 50-50. Whether or not the damn thing falls out of the air or if they can fly it in the rain. The other thing is that when you're flying in the rain, water gets on the lens and you can't see where you're going. So the DVR is worthless and you crash. And so I don't fly outside in the rain. It's nice, sometimes things happen and I'm like, I guess I'm not that old. It's, this is my way of justifying being on this planet for 44 years and still having to deal with pimples. This is red because I scratched it the other night, but it is an actual pimple. I realized that the other day. I don't know. I looked at it in the mirror today. I was like, that's a fucking pimple. How old am I? I looked in the mirror. I said, that's a pimple. Calvin says, what are some pros and cons of acrylic versus silicone conformal coating for waterproofing tiny whoops so I can fly in the winter? Flying in the winter, conformal coating to fly in the winter is a great idea. Flying in the rain doesn't really make much sense, but flying in the winter, yeah, that makes sense. Use the good stuff. I don't know, but get this. Get the MG Chemicals 419D, 419D like David, acrylic conformal coating. This is the right stuff. It's a little bit expensive, but it's the right stuff. If you ever need to solder those pads that you've conformal coated, you can burn right through this stuff. The silicone stuff is probably going to be disgusting if you try to burn through it with the tip of the soldering iron. And so get the good stuff. Get the MG Chemicals shit. You'll have it forever, and you'll use it once and then never again, and you'll have wasted like $20-something. But if you crash that quad in the snow and it doesn't explode, then you saved $100. Just justify it. It probably would have been fine without it, to be totally honest. But in that moment, you can be like, oh god damn, dude, $28 well spent. I think that's what the MG Chemicals stuff costs. Use my Amazon affiliate link, because I know you're going to buy it on Amazon, because that's where I bought mine. And you can buy it on eBay, though. Probably. But they might just order it from Amazon and have it shipped to your address, which has happened to me twice in a row now on eBay. Not twice in a row. It happened last month. 2 times last month. Shana Mindy Hell FPVRC says, doing good, brother. Finally getting to use the new, getting used to the new baby at home. She sleeps at night now. Hope you're doing well, brother. That's where you guys have been. Nyafu says, what's your favorite 2S analog AIO? Happy Model X12. It feels weird using an X12 for 1S because they can handle 2S and they're just so unbelievably good on 2S. But they're also really good on 1S. But yeah, Happy Model X12 is like insanely good on 2S. It just works, man. Cole Power says, please tell me the day didn't end with your quad getting run over by a car. It did not. Teleport FPV says, what's the wind like that day? Yeah, not much wind today. Cole Power says, Mike delay is good. Thank you, dude. Kyle says, 0802 on 65 millimeters overkill. Yes, absolutely. It'll be too heavy. The response time will suck. 0702s are the absolute jam. 802s are brilliant on these 75 millimeter 1S rigs, though, as long as they're a high enough KV. These Weebly tree toppers are absolutely unbelievable. They are so fucking good. Ginger FPVRC says, over 30 days into Boise, have a new girlfriend, happy as hell. Oh my god, thank you, life is good. Love that, dude. Love it. Project Mockingbird says, I ordered some 1003 18,000 kV motors for my 41 gram Module 8, thinking I might motor limit to about 90% or so with the 2015s or the new HQ biblade 1.5 inch pitch. That'll be cool. Let me know. I'm super interested in 1003s. What are you doing, buddy? What's that? What are you eating? What are you eating? Are you eating bugs like a good pet? Eat more bugs, please. We ask nothing of you. Eat some bugs. You want to come up? Want to come up? Come on. Come up. Come here. Come on up. Come here. Come on. Oh, God. Bring your little 20-pound ass up here. Oh, my God. Look at this dog wearing a sweatshirt. It's not a sweatshirt. It's a t-shirt. It's a long-sleeve t-shirt. Oh, God, you stink so bad. Oh, what have you been getting into? Oh, God, don't look at me. Look over there. Look over there. Look at the people. Buddy, look at the people. What are you looking at me for? Oh. Oh, God, just... How do you always step on my bits with those tiny little paws? What are you sniffing? Here, look, it's a propodial. Look at it. There he is. Look at this dog. Don't eat it. Look at this dog, man. Look at him. Look at this dog. Teddy. What are you sniffing? There he is. There he is. He can't take his eyes off it. He's afraid of it. Oh my God. Buddy, can you stop licking your paws? They're all red. You staying here? Nope, you're out. Nope, there he goes. He shakes a lot when he wears the t-shirts. It makes me kind of feel bad. But the t-shirts do calm him down. Oh my God, they're like the whole thunder jacket thing is totally real. He is so much calmer when he has a shirt giving him a constant hug, holding him in place. I probably would be too. I don't know what that means. I wear clothes every day. You know, that actually reminds me, Project Mockingbird. I ordered one 1003 to test. Yeah, here it is. I ordered one single RC and Power 1003. Did I really get 10,000 kV? I thought I got 14,000 kV. What the hell? No. I meant to get 14,000 kV. Is this really 10? Whoa. No, no, no. Don't bark, please. Good boy. He just got the zoomies for a second. Oh, what the hell, dude? Either I accidentally ordered 10,000 instead of 14,000, or they sent me 10,000 instead of 14,000. God damn it. I ordered just one because I'm going to put just one onto this 2-inch 04 Pro 2S build, and then do a black box log and see if in the black box log I can see it commanding full power to this smaller 1003 and then like less power to the other three 1103s. It's absolutely going to do that though, because this is a lower kV. This is 10,000 kV and these are 11,000 kV. And so it's certainly going to do that. I wanted to order 14,000 kV to see if the higher kV would make up for the smaller stator volume. I bet you they sent me the wrong thing. I bet you I ordered a 14,000 because I certainly wanted to. Let me see. RCN power 1003 14,000 kV. Does that even exist? I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah, it does. Oh, that's a 1002. Oh, fuck. No, yeah, see, look. See? Oh, great. Now it's out of stock. Damn. Oh, that's a 1002. Farts. Balls. Okay. Well, yeah, I ordered a 10,000 kV. If any of you see, I was really tempted to order this 1003 14,008, but the Flywoo 1002s that I had before didn't make much power, and so I was a little bit freaked out. But if I do another GetFPV order, I think I might order one of these, because this is really the kV that I want. With this kV, I should be able to run the biblade 2-inch propellers for this, which is really what I want to run. I don't want to run these triblades. I want the bis, but these 11,000 kV motors don't have enough RPM, and so next order I do, I'm going to get one of these Flywoos. They're also purple and gold, which is super cool. If any of you see this RCN Power 1002 in 14,000 kV in stock somewhere stateside, please do let me know. I have one set of these on the on one of the tiny lifters that I never fly, and I keep. I'm probably gonna pull them off of there. This would be the perfect 2S motor for 1.6 inch props, 1.8 inch props, maybe even 2-inch props. Maybe not though. Might be too small for 2-inch props. But yeah, 14,000 kV is like perfect. 19,000 is a little bit too high for 2S. Although it does work on a 1.6 inch prop. You have to motor limit it down to like 90%. 22,000 is 1S only. This is weird that I bought this 10,000 kV motor. This is stupid. Does anybody have these 1003 10,000s that needs an extra one? I'll sell it to you cheap. I wasted my money. That's weird. I'm usually completely insane about like triple checking shit before I order it. I don't know why I would have ordered that. Smaller stator volume and lower kV. Teddy, what are you doing? What are you eating off the ground. What's your deal, bro? I was printing in green today. That's all I have to say about that. Project Mockingbird says, I really wish Newbie Drone would make a... Yeah, me too. A TNC more durable Azzy. I love the feel, but they bend when the dog farts. Yeah. They don't break, but they just bend, and then they vibrate like hell. Striker says, given only the choice of 1S 40mm with tree toppers or 1S 45 with 22,000 kV 1102s. Another question on 2S 40mm or 45mm or 2-inch. I mean, there's no answer to that. Like, everybody's different. That, you know, and they all do different stuff. The bigger they are, the heavier they are, and the more power they have. And so, yeah, there's not really an answer to that. They all just do different things. But the tree toppers versus the 1102s, it's the tree toppers. They're absolutely dialed. But yeah, the size of the propeller that you run is 100% personal preference. What I like has nothing to, and there's not even one that I like more. It's, you know, if I want to fly really small and shoot tiny little gaps, as light as possible. If I want to fly big and, as you know, throw it over trees and go really fast, the biggest possible prop. Like it's, you know, that's the case all the way up to 7-inch propellers. So yeah, there's not better. There's just different. Project Mockingbird says, I had him test it for me and he came up with mullet-propping, but I do try in the front, buy in the back. Try in the back sucks from our testing, for what it's worth. Interesting. I didn't feel much of it. I didn't fly them back to back, but it definitely felt worse with the mismatched props versus all triblades. That could just be because these motors at 22,000 kV with biblades kind of suck. If these were 25,000 or 28,000 kV motors, it might have felt better with the mixed setup. But yeah, when there was biblades anywhere on this, the total amount of power was not enough. Project Mockingbird says, because aerodynamically buy in the back gets better the more you increase angle, like an F1 wing. Gets better. It gets cleaner air. The faster you go, the cleaner the air is going to be. But it's never going to be as clean as the front. So I would never. I mean, if you guys can tell a difference between the way it flies back to front, that's all that matters. But from like a engineering brain standpoint, I would never understand why you would put biblades in the back, because the back props always have more work to do. And triblades are always going to do more work. Well, I guess if you have motors that are ultra high kV, then yeah, okay. But lower kV, gruntier motors, triblades in the back, to me, makes the most sense. But, you know, there are plenty of things in FPV that make sense, or even the existing aeronautical articles that are out there say shouldn't work, and then we fly them and they do work. Pusher versus puller, for example. All of the data and all of the articles out there about having obstructions in the airflow versus in the high pressure zone below the propeller versus the low pressure zone above the propeller. All of the shit from the world of aeronautics says it's better to have the obstructions in the high pressure zone, because the actual work is getting done in the low pressure zone. The air is just hanging out. It doesn't want to move. The motor and propeller has to then grab that air and move it. That's where the work is being done. Then it just needs to get rid of it so it can grab more air. And so the fact that when we build A pusher setup, in some cases, I've not seen it tested head-to-head anywhere else other than box frames, but with box frames, there's an efficiency bump from a pusher setup, which doesn't make any sense. But, you know, with quads, there's all kinds of weird shit going on. There's the canopy making airflow happen, go crazy. There's all, it's just, you know, too many variables. And so, yeah, flight testing a lot of this stuff is, someone that's flown thousands and thousands and thousands of batteries, flight testing some of this stuff is some of the most, if not the most valuable way of evaluating things. Either YouTube is going to crash or the Canon software is going to crash. Fair warning. The Bruce says, oh no, Bao says, hi Ciotti, I'm a pilot from Vietnam. I set up Air 75 V2 Matrix 1S HQ 40mm 802 19500 with 04 light. Wow, I can't believe that thing even gets off the ground with that low of a KV motor and the 04 light. I love cinematic shots on Tiny Whoop. Can you give me some advice for upgrade my Tiny, please? Yeah, man, more KV. You need more KV. The 04 light is fairly heavy from like a Tiny Whoop standpoint. Well, here's the thing though. The big advice I'm going to give is to go to 2S. 1S with 04 light immediately is like really heavy and underpowered. Whether it's a 1.2 inch prop or a 1.6 inch prop, there's no way to build a great 1S digital rig. So the best thing you could possibly do would be to go to 2S. If you can't go to 2S because your flight controller doesn't support it, for example, get the tree toppers. These motors from Weebleed are absolutely the way to go. 802, 32,500 kV. These are going to completely transform that setup. Still an 802, so the build's not going to get any heavier, but you're going to get a ton of kV and a ton more power. If you don't want all this extra kV, you can just go into the PIDs tab and motor limit it down a little bit, and you'll be good to go. But yeah, you're going to lose some flight time for sure, but it's going to fly so much better. So just buy a couple of extra batteries when you buy the tree toppers, and that thing will perform so much better. 19,500 kV is really, really, really low. And then, yeah, HQ prop 40mm ultralights are definitely the way you want to go. Thanks for letting him know to tag me, people. Josh says, what would cause my display to turn off only when I arm? Is it like, when you say your display, what does that mean? Your goggles? The camera? The VTX? The OSD? Tell me more. Project Mockingbird says, don't forget to conformal coat your USB port. Yeah, definitely don't do that. Yeah, be careful with conformal coating, friends. It is non-conductive, so don't get it on anything that needs to be conductive. Kelvin says, where's my Teddy Spaghetti t-shirt? Yeah, we gotta do one of those. We got to do one of those. Apache Smoke Wood and Cyber says, good evening, how you doing? I'm on the way to China now, visiting T-Hobby again. You lucky bastard. That's awesome. Cole Power says, technically speaking, the green on the inside of the Tiny Whoop ducts is dead weight. Clean that shit. He ain't wrong. I'm going to restart YouTube in hopes that it this horrible stuttering goes away. Okay. There we go. Holy shit. Project Mockingbird with an $80 super chat. Dude, thank you. Holy hell. And he says, buy those 1003s. Okay. Wait. Oh, yeah, the flywheel ones. Sure. Add to cart. Verifying that you're human. That's only going to add one. Oh, it does it automatically. I am going to double check, though. if anybody else has it, namely Pyrodrone. If Pyrodrone has these, I'm going to order from there because Pyrodrone has the Air 75 V2 frame that I am curious about. I'm pretty sure it's just going to explode, but for like $4, I'm willing to go for it. Doesn't look like Pyrodrone has them, but RDQ does, of course, because RDQ is GetFPV. Maybe RDQ has the BetaFPV Air 75 V2 frame. They do! Cool. All right, so we'll get to check out the Air 75 V2 frame. $5.50 well spent. Thank you, dude. Very cool of you. And then, hold on. Let me go to GetFPV and take that out of my cart. Otherwise, they'll send me nasty emails. Not nasty emails, but they send me emails. Are you sure you missed something in your cart, bro? No, I didn't. Should I get black or clear white? Always clear white. Clear plastic. Plastic is clear. If plastic is any other color than clear, there's something else in it to make it that other color. And whatever that other stuff is, it's almost certainly not as strong as plastic. So clear plastic should always be the strongest unless something weird happened in the manufacturing process. But, you know, play the odds. And if you want something to be strong, get clear. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm only $193.51 away from free shipping. It seems really oh, I was on the wrong site. It seems a bit excessive that the free shipping threshold is now $200. It was just such a big jump. It went from like, it was like $50 for the longest time, and then it went to 100, and then it immediately went to 200. So, you know, thanks, Trump. I was at the grocery store the other day, and a box of cereal was $9. And, like, it's going to get so much worse. It's going to get so much worse. I hope it was worth it. I hope owning the libs was worth it. I really do. Because if it wasn't, then, you know, you just turned that shotgun right around, looked right down the barrel, and just pounded yourself right in the face. Project Mockingbird says, doing the math, 14,800 kV on 1003 will perform just a tiny bit better than 1103, 11,000 kV. But be a bit more efficient. I think 16 to 17,000 kV is a sweet spot on paper, but we'll see. I'm super interested, man. Thank you for the super generous super chat. That's a lot of supers. Yeah, these GemFan 2023 S's are really good. Don't get me wrong. And this combo is incredible, man. These Happy Model 1103 11,000s with these props, it is awesome. But I don't need the amount of, or want the amount of grip that these triblades have. The GemFan 20, so these are 2023 2.3 pitch. The biblade version of these is 2015 1.5 pitch. And they're very well balanced, and they're a lot lighter, obviously, one less blade. But yeah, the 11,000 kV is just nowhere near enough for those 2015s. So this, like, 14,800 kV, hopefully it's actually 14,800 kV. The previous Flywoo 1002s that I had, they claimed that they were 22,000 kV, but then when I tested them against the 20,000 kV RC and power motors, they actually made less power. It could just be a magnet strength issue. It could be an air gap deal. But yeah, hopefully these 14,800 kV 1003s are actually 14,800 kV, because the difference between 11 and 15,000 kV is a lot, and that should be enough to make up for the difference in pitch. And then it'll be a lighter motor, right? 1003 versus 1103 with a lighter propeller. so we should get better response time, maybe even better power to weight ratio, and then it'll be more slippery and more slidey, which will be a little bit better in the wind, right? This could be like a huge win. Thank you, brother. Very, very cool. After the stream, I'm gonna fart around on race day quads. Is there anybody that's been dying to order something that's like $100 from race day quads? I can order it and then ship it to you. Maybe somebody that's been meaning to buy like drill bits or something like that, you know, so that I was gonna ship you something anyway. Whoop Fox says, starting my 2S 75mm build, got some Happy Model 16,000 kV motors. How much motor limit would you run? I actually wouldn't. On a 75mm motor-to-motor, 1.6-inch prop build, 16,000 kV is like perfect. Run those fuckers at full stank. That thing will fly awesome. My favorite 2S 75mm build at the moment is on 0802s, which are 19,000 kV, and they're motor limited down to like 90%, I think it is, and they absolutely blast. It's like arguably perfect. So much fun, so light, so quick, so responsive, insane runtime. Just an absolute blast to fly. So yeah, what Happy Model motors did you find in 16,000 kV? Are those 802s? Where are we at in chat here? Josh Bergeron says, the camera, I got a new Mobula 6 2024. Swapped motors to Weebleed 32,500 702s in frame. I arm and the camera cuts out. I disarm and the camera comes back. So your OSD stays there, and then so it goes from like having picture to being like what, black screen or gray screen with the OSD on top? Confirm that for me. Flies normal, just no camera. Oh, there you go. OSD works the whole time. What? When did the problem start? It sounds like it started when you swapped the motors. That's super weird, dude. Jason Levin says, what about RC and Power 1003 14,000 kV motors? I swore that they existed. I can't find them. Can you find them? I'm not seeing them anywhere. The only 14,000s that I'm seeing are 1002s. I would prefer an RC and Power 1003 14,000 over the Flywoo 1003 14,800. After the experience that I had with the 1002s. But yeah, I can't find the RC and Power 1003 14,000s. I think I was making them up in my head. I think I was getting the 1002s confused with the 1003s. Is basically what's going on here. You Can FPV says clear usually weighs less too. I never noticed that. That's interesting. Project Mockingbird says, oh, and try those HQ 2-inch, 1.5-inch pitch props too. I ordered some. They're lighter than the Gem Fan. I now have all, and I'm dying to use them. I have all of the 2-inch props that would make sense for Tiny Whoops. But these giant 1003 11,000 kV motors are just they're not enough. They're not enough. They don't have enough RPM. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to run them, actually. These are what the 2015s look like, for anybody that doesn't know them. These are these really interesting HQ quad blades, 2.1, Sorry, 2 by 1.9 by 4. These flew really good, but they were too grippy and not efficient enough. And then I've got the Gemfan 2009 triblades with 1mm shaft. I shouldn't have ordered these. That was stupid. The same 2009s in 1.5mm shaft. The 2008 biblades, and then these are old school HQ. I've had these forever. HQ 51mm. They're actually called triblades in the sub 250 color. These are not well balanced. I had to drill the top out of them, and they're out of balance. And then these are the ones that I really want to use. These are the HQ 2 by 0.9 ultralight biblades. And then the HQ 2 by 1.5. These are the ones that I'm really interested in. I tried them on that rig, and 1.5 pitch is nowhere near enough. They didn't make nearly enough power. But on these 1003s, at hopefully actually 14,800 kV, these might be absolutely brilliant. I think that these Gemfan 2015s are going to be better. It's a bigger, beefier propeller, and with the 2-inch build, like, it's big and heavy and stout. These HQ ultralights, I think they're going to be a little too flimsy for the amount of power that 1003 is going to put out. But I would love to be wrong about that. These Gemfans are all way too low of a pitch. 2008, 2009, that's too low of a pitch. These don't fly very good at all. These old HQs are out of balance because they designed them to not have the top of the prop be opened. And then these 2 by 0.9s, just like the Gemfans, are not pitchy enough. So much so that I'm putting those in the main propeller box that I very rarely go into. So yeah, very cool. I'm actually really curious if a 1002 or an 1102 would work on this 2-inch build. That's where these HQ ultralight 2 by 1.5s I think would be perfect. But like I mentioned earlier, I think the problem is going to be that the frame's too heavy. There is not like a good lightweight 2-inch prop tiny whoop frame. This Happy Model Mobula 8 frame is a big fat bastard. It's got these big wide motor supports, and it's just a big chunky butt. But I don't necessarily need this thing to lose weight. I almost want it to be heavy because it's got... That's the point of this, right? This is the heavy, fat, big old canopy setup, but ND filter. Like, this is what I want to, go downtown and just rail everything with, but still get really decent quality video, and be totally invisible and not have to worry about anybody getting pissed or anything like that. And so I'm okay with the weight. The runtime is also fine on this thing. And so, yeah, it seems like a good idea making this thing lighter weight, but I don't really know. It's so good where it's at right now that I don't think it's going to get any better. But, we got to test everything. Otherwise, we're not complete. And it would be better with biblades. Like, in the wind, that thing does get pushed around quite a bit. And the triblades are not going to make that better. The triblades are going to catch more of the wind. The extra, and if I want the extra weight, I just put a bigger battery on it, right? Put a 2S550 or a 2S650 in the damn thing, and now I've got that weight back to be better in the wind. So, if we could get a motor setup that with biblades makes this amount of power, then we can run it on a smaller battery if it's not a windier day, run it on a big fat battery on the windy days, right? We can have the best of all worlds. So that would be kind of ideal. As a reminder, every order that you place on my Etsy store comes with a propadial. These are all the colors, and I'm doing 3D prints for lots and lots and lots of people. If you need something 3D printed, I've got all of these colors of TPU. basically the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. I do have 2 greens. I have an opaque green and a see-through green. This is the opaque green. This is the see-through green. And the pinkish color here is also opaque. The rest of these are all the same smart TPU colors that you've seen a million times. So yeah, if you need something 3D printed, head on over to CiottiFPV.com and shoot me a message. Let me know what you need. I'll give you a price, and I'll whip it out for you. I won't whip it out for you. I'll whip it up for you, though. Weird. Weird thing to say. But I'm a weird guy. Hey, man. You're no less weird. You're fucking watching me on the internet. You're watching me on YouTube. You're arguably way weirder than me for that. Denzel the Terrible says, tell them... Oh, God, thank you for the reminder. Denzel the Terrible, the legend that made and printed this insanely cool thing. Denzel the Terrible has offered to take care of 3D prints up in Canada for me. So if you're in Canada... I am somewhat willing to ship to Canada. It's just international shipping that disappears into the abyss. But even better, he's in Canada. If you're in Canada and need something 3D printed, he's willing to do it for you. So yeah, there you go. Thank you, dude. Super cool. Monsoon Lock and Key says, can you please how you store your parts and workbench solder station setup? I keep this, so I do everything on this one IKEA desk. Over here is like the on deck circle / just like storage. The laptop goes down there behind that shit. But yeah, this is all like just on deck shit waiting, and just like my goggles that I use a lot. 2 monitors, and then this area here, because it needs to be on this down-facing camera, is like really a little too tight. I constantly want to move all of this over there so that I have more room, but like I've got these down here, so like my feet would be this is okay. This is fine. And so yeah, this is a pretty tight little setup. This is a black microfiber, just so that this shit doesn't go all rolling around. I keep only the tools out that I use like all the time. All the rest of the tools go in this. This is a machinist's toolbox. So it's a smaller toolbox made by a company called Kennedy. But any machinist's toolbox will work beautiful for FPV stuff. These awesome little things that you can get from like arts and crafts stores are brilliant for separating all your different parts, and they drop in here perfectly. There's 2 of them on top of one another right here, and then there's a whole bunch more in here. This drawer is just all parts and shit. These, I forget what these cases came with. I think it was maybe motors that came in these, fit perfectly in there. And then so there's tons of shit in there. This is all like my adhesives and greases and shit, battery connectors. This is just weird random shit, bunch of files up here. Again, these things fit perfectly in these drawers of the machinist toolbox. These are all Wehas that I don't use very often. These are Wehas that I use a little bit more often. This is a caliper. I'm sorry, this is a micrometer, rather. Another one of these things with more stuff. The little ones fit perfectly here. These machinist toolbox come with these dividers, a bunch of X-Acto knives, and then the top is a bit of a mess here. But there's kind of a method to the madness. And then the machinist toolbox, the top will actually swing down and close, not with all this shit in it, but yeah. Silicone work mat, which is really nice because when you touch it with the soldering iron, it doesn't get ruined. But also, what I really like about this is that it has grip to it. And so when you're working on something, if you're pushed sideways, it doesn't like skid all over the damn place. I really like, I've used all kinds of different work mats, but this silicone one, which was like $20 from Amazon, has been my absolute favorite. It's got it's got a magnet underneath here, so this shit doesn't go flying all around, which is kind of cool. OmniFixo is absolutely amazing, well worth the money. And then yeah, this is a mess right now. I hate that it's this dirty, but you know, I go through phases. These are all antennas that I'm waiting to get make ultra lightweight, and I'll put them on my Etsy store. Yeah, there's just shit that I have to get done. Set of 1303 7500s I want to find a use for. Black, I finally have black hot glue sticks, which is awesome. Bunch of other random shit. So there you go. A little workbench tour for you. Oh, wait, no. This gets pointed in this direction nowadays. There we go. Flew the Grinderino a little bit today. The ESC is on its way out, very annoyingly. This is a Speedix, an old Speedix GS25. I think I'm just going to keep running it until it fails all the way. This is kind of like a basher anyway, so I think I'm just going to beat the living hell out of this. I'm hoping to go to Patrick's place tomorrow and rip the shit out of this and the Siren F3 and have a cool little 3-inch versus 3.5-inch comparison. These are both now on DJI 03. This is a naked 03 VTX and a full-size regular camera so that I can run the ND filters on the camera. This is a full-size 03 and a regular old camera. Yeah, two very fun to fly builds, both on ELRS, both kind of dialed in pretty well at this point. ESC on the Siren is fine. The ESC is fine on this, but it just has like a little twitch every like once a minute, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I am gonna fly this extra hard because I do want to kill this ESC, which will then give me the excuse to replace it. Because like if I pull this apart now and switch the ESC out, what do I then do with this ESC? Right? Like, it's weird to sell it to someone. It's weird to be like, hey, you want to buy this ESC that's going to blow up soon? You know? This is on Xnova 1804s. The Siren is on Toka 1505s. These 1804s are a little too low of a KV for 3-inch props, so I have them on GemFan 3525s right now. It makes really good power on these propellers. And these motors are just like unbelievably durable. So this is like the super ultra basher setup. And then the Siren F3 is a lot lighter. This is like 40 grams lighter, but it's on a 3-inch prop. But I think it actually makes more power because the motors are a higher KV, and these are 3052. These are really pitchy 3-inch props. And so between it being lightweight, having the higher KV, the 1804s are only 3500 KV. These 1505s are... I really wish they would write this stuff smaller so that nobody can read it. 3800 KV. So not that much higher KV, but enough. Both of these run on 4S850s. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. His property, I hate the word property, but it's the right word in this case. His property is, I think, absolutely perfect for these 3-inch builds. I ripped the shit out of his house with a 5-inch build a while back, and it was a blast. But like with the 5-inch build, like if his wife or like one of his kids are like walking across the lawn and I dive down and hit him in the face, I don't want to have to go to someone's funeral. You know, so I think the 3-inch rigs are more realistic there, and it's all there's a lot of like smaller, tighter gaps there too, which the 3-inch setup should be better for. You could argue that the 5-inch setups are better because they're more dialed in and there's better motor selections, yada yada yada. But yeah, these are pretty good. These motor prop combos on these two are pretty damn good. Striker says, love those 1103s on the 2023s. but it's too grippy. I think you're on the money with the 1003s. The 1103s really shine on 2.5-inch 2S open prop. That class is just great. Whoop Fox says 802 1mm shafts, got some Weebleed 1.5 bell I just swapped on. Nice. Striker also says the little micro open prop stuff would be really great if it wasn't so easily breakable. Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, though, because it's too slow to fly outside, and then it's too slippery and slidey for inside. So I don't... The open prop stuff, smaller than like 3-inch, 2.5-inch, 2-inch, doesn't make any sense to me in any case. I've built and flown them all, and they never make any sense to me. Striker says, have you seen 1002 25,000s from GetBarC? Do you think they would have any purpose? 45mm maybe. I have seen those. It's not quite enough KV to warrant the cost, but 1002s seem to be really good on 1.8-inch, maybe 2-inch. It would have to be the lightweight 2-inch props, though. Whoop Fox says part number something or other. Searching for that part number. Oh, wow. Old school. Oh, my God. Yo, these motors are so old. Holy Christ, I forgot about these. Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them being old. The Happy Model hasn't really changed the way that they've made motors in forever. But, yeah, this... Oh, that's right. This... Who remembers what this bind and fly is called that these motors came on? Oh wait, no, this isn't the one I'm thinking of. That's not this build. There's a similar looking build that Ishin made way back when, and it was called the Trash Can. Guys, if you're gonna sell a product in the US, for fuck's sake, get someone to read the translation before you make a billion of them and send them over to America. Because if you sell something that you don't put garbage in, but you call it trash can, nobody's gonna buy it. Striker says, holy shit, 2-inch prop testing is gonna be so fire. I've already tested most of those. And most of them suck. Denzel Terrible says, tell them, we got that. Denzel also says, just gotta wait till postal strike is over, though. Okay, fair enough. I'll ship to Canada while the postal strike is still going on. Monsoon Lock and Key says, can you please... Oh, we got that. Striker says, have you tried the HQ 3.5 by 2.8 M5? I don't think I have those. Hold on. It's been hard to find M5 mount 3.5-inch props. There are some Emaxes that are absolutely amazing. These Emax Scimitar 3.5 by 2.8s, these are the best 2.5-inch props. And when they first sold this propeller, it was M5 or T-mount. It had the same gem fan setup with the little insert. And then they stopped selling that version of the prop, and they started selling this T-mount only version of the prop. And it makes me want to absolutely pull my eyelashes out one by one, because it's unbelievable. This is an unbelievably good 3.5-inch propeller, but these X-Nova 1804s are M5 mount. So, yeah, that makes me sad. That looks like an old school propeller, but I don't think it actually is. I don't believe that I have these, but I'm gonna check. I really doubt that I have these because I would be running them if I did. But yeah, I will absolutely check. I have a bag in here with 3.5-inch props. Is it the first bag that I took out. It sure is. Yeah, if you guys ever see those Emax Scimitar props with the convertible hub, see, I actually have a secret stash of them. They're a good freestyle prop though, so like I would go through this bag of them in like 5 batteries, and then they would all be banged up. But yeah, if you guys ever see these at like your local hobby shop or something like that for sale, oh my god, buy them all for me. I mean, buy them all for yourself if you want, but if you don't want them, buy them all for me. I'll pay you $1 more than whatever you get them for. This is the best 3.5-inch prop probably ever. Super strong, crazy efficient, really quiet, amazing propeller. Super sad that they don't make it in the convertible hub. I've often toyed with the idea of buying a set of the T-mount X-Nova 1804s, but I have so many of the existing ones, the M5 mount ones, and I do prefer using the M5 nut. They're such a durable motor, and it is just easier to crack the M5 nut off than dealing with T-mount. Monsoon Lock and Key, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, thank you, definitely going to look into a machinist box. Hell yeah, man. You could probably get like a Harbor Freight machinist toolbox that'll be totally fine. These Kennedy boxes are a little expensive. They're super nice, but you probably don't need a machinist box that's this nice. It's in like this old school kind of brown color. I don't know if that's really coming through. There you go. Yeah, it's like a super cool old school dark brown sort of color. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, I think this, my dad got me this toolbox ages ago, which is super cool. I will like covet this thing for the rest of my life. And so yeah, what a cool present from the coolest dad in the fucking world. Those of you that have seen him on this live stream will back me up on that. FizzPV says, my antenna just came off my Matrix AIO. Is the Hummingbird V4 a good replacement, and would I need to flash the ESC? Well, I mean, like, the ESC is built in to the AIO, so I'm a little confused when you ask, like, would I need to flash the ESC, but yeah, the Hummingbird V4 is a great AIO. It's, I think, my second favorite. It's maybe my third favorite. 2G4 Happy Model 2G4, which you can get from WeBleed, is my favorite. The Super X is my second favorite, which is what comes in the Mobula 6 2024, and then followed very closely by the Hummingbird V4. So yeah. Shruggers says, HQ 315 2.8 seem interesting because of the scimitars. I might be getting back into the game in terms of 3-inch with either FPV Cycle 16mm or X-Nova 1804. The FPV Cycle 16mm motors make kind of too much power, and they're also super notchy. It's, you know, if you want lots of power, that's probably it. FizzPV says, at Ciotti, you forgot the FPV, but I still just happen to see it. Would it be plug and play? No, because it's going to come with a battery plug. It's not going to come with a BT 2.0 battery plug. It's either going to come with NX69, and you probably don't have those batteries, or PH 2.0. So it will not be plug and play. And then you're going to have to run motors that use the Newbie Drone smaller motor plugs. So your existing motors aren't going to work unless you get those, unless when you're getting the AIO, you also order a set of those JST 1.25 smaller motor plugs, and then you direct solder those to your existing motors. So get the 2G4 or the Super X, and then it'll be plug and play, because it'll come with an A30, which will work with your BT 2.0 batteries. Streger's friend is trying to break sub 250 speed record with the FPV Cycle 16 millimeter motors, 4100 kV 6S. We're considering props, maybe 3052s, HQ 3050s, maybe in the HQ. Whichever of those propellers is the heaviest, because that much RPM is going to blow props up, I have a feeling. Good lord, it's 12:22 already. Did we do all the things? Are you guys satisfied with your live stream for the night? If so, support me and I'll do another one on Wednesday. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com, click some buttons. I'm going to fly these two tomorrow. I'll have some feedback for you and some flight footage on Wednesday. What else? I'm going to pee my pants in a little bit. That'll be fun. I've got this 2S analog rig that I'm going to do something kind of cool with. I'm going to take this crazy Insta360 Go 2 canopy off and make this back into a basher rig. But I'm going to do it with a CO3 camera and the little adapter piece in a Mobula 6 canopy. So that'll be a cool comparison of heavier 2S analog build on 1002 motors versus slightly lighter weight version of this on the Runcam Nano 3 with 802 19,000 kV motors, motor limited down a little bit. So that'll be kind of fun. And the other cool thing that I did is the Grinderino has I moved the camera from ultra wide to wide, and it still has top plate in view because the angle of this front of this top plate is kind of backwards. It was done this way because it looks cool this way, but the sort of right way to angle the top plate, as far as I'm concerned, is the opposite direction so that it doesn't show up in the camera view. And so, like, with the camera mounted here, even set to wide, and I'm not willing to fly it on normal field of view, even set to wide, you have top plate in view, and you have tons of propeller in view. And so I found this, which puts the camera all the way out in front of the front standoffs. It would look like that. The problem with that is the camera is now outside of the cage, and so you can no longer. It's no longer like a basher build, and you know the Grinderino frame is kind of a cool basher build. It looks like it still tucks the camera behind the front of the motors and the arms, and so if you hit something flat, it'll still hit the arms and the motors before the camera. But if you send anything down the middle, you're just going to absolutely annihilate your 03 camera. And I don't know if you can really get replacements to these anymore. So I think I'm going to leave it like this, but this is pretty cool to have. We'll see. I don't know. If I want to get no prop in view 03 flight footage, I can do it with the Siren 3-inch rig. I just need to switch these camera plates over. I printed out Quadmula made new camera plates that you can just download from their website, and they push this camera just barely far forward enough to get everything else out of view. So yeah, I don't know. I do think, well, this will still have a bunch of propeller in view. I think with this guy on the Grinderino, there will be very little propeller in view. So I don't know. This thing is super tempting, but I really don't want to smash an 03 camera, and I really want to fly this thing like I fucking hate it. So I think it's gonna stay like this for a while, and it just sort of is what it is. But we'll see. One of the problems with micros and flying them really hard is that pretty much every crash bends up the propellers so bad that you get tons of jello and the damn thing is barely flyable. That's one thing that, like, with 5-inch rigs is so nice. you can hammer those fuckers and then just bend the propellers back somewhat straight and just put it back up in the air, and there's really typically not a lot of jello, and they'll fly right through it. It's one of the things that's always driven me insane about micros. It's one of the things that I really love about those Emax Scimitar props is they're really strong, and you can really hammer the shit out of them. So I don't know. We'll see. These GemFan 3525 props, they're not going to take a lot of abuse. It's a thin propeller. The response time is insane, but I really wish it was a little bit more substantial of a prop. Maybe those HQs are. I'm going to throw some of these HQs on this order. Probably 3 sets of these will be enough to crash the shit out of them and really see how durable they are. They don't look very durable though. This is not a durable blade profile here, but you know, whatever. We'll give them a shot. At least they're pitchy. At least it's a 2.8 pitch prop, which will help with these 3500 kV 1804s. So like no matter what, this may very well be the best 3.5 inch prop for these motors. But I really wish that somebody would make a durable 3.5 inch propeller. Because yeah, the Grinderino is a really interesting build that's really strong, but then the props are going to let it down left and right. So there you go. All right, friends, thanks for hanging. Support me, I'll support you. Love you, bye. Here's some more. Oh, did I quit out of Inna? What a dumbass. Hold on. HD0039. Here's more of the Castle Crash flight footage. 039. And so we're on to HD0040. We're into the last day. This is the last day of flying. So we're getting there, man. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Be good. Bye!